anytime, I can chat with another holistic practitioner, and we can, spread the message. And I think that's what we need to do is we have to get together and spread the message. Again, not to replace Western medicine, but just to let other people know there are other options. And it's up to us because no one else is going to do it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you are watching or listening. This is the Holistic Monitor, and I'm your host, Nick Sconia. The Holistic Monitor podcast is a weekly show featuring guest interviews with discussions about self-discovery, philosophy, spirituality, and our relationship with the world around us. Your support this last year has meant the world to me, and you can now go to holisticmonitor.com to support the topics you want to hear with our new show merchandise, featuring hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. You can also support us by simply sharing your favorite episode with your followers. And with that, let's get the show started. Jimmy Yen, you are an entrepreneur, a lead acupuncturist in the social media world, and you have a business that works to help other practitioners achieve their goals in wellness. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
What got you started yourself in the path of healing, let's say?
Yeah. So, well, thanks for first, Nick, having me on the show. Truly appreciate it. To answer your question, really, I would say my dad. So my dad, he's not an acupuncturist. He's not in the healthcare profession. And a lot of times when I share this, he's actually a computer programmer. Mm-hmm. And so he very early on in his life, he suffered with a lot of allergy issues, sinus issues. And back then he went the traditional routes, Western medicine, medication, try one, it works, and then it stops working, try another one, go to the doctor, get a stronger medication, it works for a while, then it stops working. And he got to a point where he was growing polyps, swellings in his sinuses. And the medications weren't working. And of course, the physicians, what's the next option? Surgery. And so he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. There's got to be another way. And so this is probably in his 30s. And he started researching and getting interested in nutrition. And so that started him on that path. And then, of course, within our culture, it's traditional Chinese medicine it's just ingrained into our culture. So he started studying more of that as well. And so growing up, he would always basically preach whatever he was learning because he was actually doing it. Because he actually, just by changing his diet, his lifestyle, he basically, you can say, solved his polyp issue with no more medication, no surgery. And he's, so long story short, he was my inspiration to get into this healing industry. Yeah.
And then you went to like a traditional college for acupuncture. Is that right?
Yeah, I went to acupuncture school here in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. One of the things that I find really interesting about acupuncture and acupressure is how it actually can subtly change dynamically in the body, but very subtle in appearance, a person's life and their wellness, and also kind of signals too, like almost not necessarily diagnostic. I don't want to use that word, but it can kind of signal different abnormalities, let's say, in the channels.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say, acupuncture and acupressure. Talking about acupressure, I do acupressure on my social media channels. It's an acupressure technique that I created myself. It's based on how I do acupuncture. And so I don't do the traditional acupuncture that we were taught in school. I created my own technique. And actually, it can be very quick.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the people who follow my social media channels, they do the acupressure that I show and they get instant relief, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the acupressure doesn't solve the problem. You definitely need acupuncture. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. A lot of the pressure points, so to speak, they are indicative sometimes of a potential organ dysfunction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. And I do follow your social medias. It's fantastic. It's always great to learn something new, find a new technique. They're really quick and spontaneous help, which is just fantastic. You do a great presentation with it as well.
Thank you.
And it seems to be very successful for you too.
Yeah.
Is that all in line with your main business, the Achieve Wellness, integrative wellness? Yeah.
Yeah. So yes. So the I started doing social media just actually post COVID. COVID got me to jump onto social media because everybody was at home.
Yeah.
I could use Achieve Integrative Health is my acupuncture clinic here in Austin, Texas that I own. And post COVID, you couldn't go out, you couldn't meet and greet people. And those were some of the marketing strategies, I would say, the promotion strategies I would use to invite people to our clinic. Well, COVID, everybody's at home. So I had no choice but to try something that I did not like. I actually hated social media pre-COVID. And so, yeah, so that got me, I started doing social media to promote my clinic, but also provide, help that people can do at home for their own health. And so, and not only what I found was through social media, I'm not only able to help people just in like Austin, Texas, but I have followers. I have a total of 3 million followers on social media, and I'm helping people all over the world. And so that when I started realizing that was happening, I was like, man, why did I not do this earlier?
Yeah, it's something else. And what I think it is that you're also kind of revealing something that's helpful. Like there's a gain for the viewer, for the follower. They're actually going to learn something. They can retain it. They can practice it. Now, you went to school for acupuncture. What length of time was that course?
Yeah, so the program is a 4-year course. So I did my undergraduate in biochemistry at the University of Texas at Austin. And then I went to acupuncture school, which is another 4 years program. I finished it in about 3.5, but it's another 4-year program.
Yeah, it's a full program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something that I run into with, we have a service as well that deals with acupressure areas. We call them gravimetric spots, which are areas of electromagnetic pressure, which fall in line with a lot of them fall in line with the meridians. Something that I noticed on your website is that you do thermography.
Yes.
And this is the method that we use. We use a infrared reader to read the spots to create a chain of organs and glands that would be affected. One thing that I find that a lot of people have an issue with is that it's a hidden thing. It's something that they can't see, even though they may be suffering from something. Do you have a method that you use with your clients and with the public at large that gives them a sign that like something is happening?
Yeah. So yes and no. So there's no single technology, as you probably already know, there's no single technology that can detect everything and tell us everything about the body. At least not yet, right?
Yeah.
Technology is improving though. We use a combination of old technology and new technology. Old technology as in 3,000 years old. So we use, in Chinese medicine that we use, pulse diagnosis. And so I also created my own pulse diagnostic technique. And what does that do? So depending on the radial pulse, the reason why we feel the pulse, because different sections of the radial pulse actually correspond to different organs in our body. And since there's blood flowing in the radial pulse, we can detect the blood circulating to all the different parts of our body and all the different organs in our body. And just by feeling the pulse, we can detect which organs are dysfunctioning, right? So we have an idea from there. Then we combine it with new technology. So for example, like infrared, right? Infrared can give us another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And we also love blood labs. So lab tests, right? Lab tests also give us another piece of the puzzle. And so lab tests, imaging, ultrasounds, we use all of those data and combine all of those data. And recently we added a new technology. It's a metabolic breath analysis. So now we're analyzing physiological function through the breath.
Wow.
So from the pulse, through the breath, through the blood. So we're using the body is its own diagnostic machine.
Right.
We just need to figure out how to read it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's no machine that can read everything. So that's why we incorporate so many different things, and then we combine the data, and that helps us pinpoint the root cause faster.
I like that. That's great. Now, you do that all in your clinic in Austin?
Yeah.
And
yes.
When a client wants to come and visit the clinic, they have an issue, let's say, a liver dysfunction of some sort.
Yeah.
What would be their protocol for them when they show up, and what could they expect?
Yeah. So, after we do all of our diagnostics, and let's say that we find that, okay, the liver is not, every organ, let's say, for example, has 10 functions. And the liver, we found, it's only doing 8 of its functions, right? So obviously the liver has more functions, but I'm just using a simple example.
Right.
And so the liver is dysfunctioning. So then we use, a combination of, we do acupuncture, because acupuncture is one of the quickest therapies. I mean, it's a therapy that can move the blood quicker, right? Because with acupuncture, we can move the blood to any organ and anywhere, but we can move it to the liver, right? And then at the same time, when we're moving blood, we're moving nutrition to the liver, and we're also draining waste from the liver. Right. And that's all done through acupuncture. Now, if there's no nutrition in the blood, then moving the blood isn't going to help that much.
Yeah.
So that's why we need nutrition. So that's why we go over their diet, right? Diet is vital. We also go over, we also use Chinese herbs. Chinese herbs are like just super powered food. And sometimes we'll use some supplements, right? And those purpose is just to put nutrition in the blood, and then use acupuncture to move that nutrition to the liver. And of course, there's other lifestyle too, right?
Yeah.
Because the liver is highly affected by irritability, anger, right? So we need to make sure that mentally that they are getting help in that aspect if they need it, right? Whether it's through meditating, whether it's through seeing a psychologist or someone with mental health skill sets. So we also need to address that too.
Yeah.
So we don't do that part in our clinic. So we usually refer out for that.
Right. That would be mainly like mental, emotional support as well as, but you would address that with the client.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
To say,
yeah, we don't tell people that we are the one-stop shop that can fix everything. It takes a team to help people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's a good way to approach it, is to say, let's see what we have and see what we can get accomplished, what we can achieve, as it would. Now, do you wrote a book as well? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What is the name of the book?
Achieve a Life of Wellness.
Okay.
So it's just the book this is the first book that I wrote. It's basically a roadmap. This is the first of eventually many books. I just haven't got to the part of many books yet.
Yeah.
But it's just a roadmap to let people know that there is a different path, right? If people especially post-COVID, now people are more alert about their own health and about thinking about they can actually take control of their health. So my first book is really just to open their eyes to the potential of different roadmaps. And there's not just, hey, go to the doctor, get a medication, and wait for surgery.
Yeah, and that is the mainstream.
Yes,
And legally that is the one that we would all say, make sure you do that first.
exactly.
Get a
Disclaimer.
doctor's note,
Yes.
Um, do you do you find you have a lot of new people coming to acupuncture to your clinic that are new to the experience that are trying it out for the first time?
Yes, I would say we do. And I have to say maybe 50-50
Hmm.
because I'm in a city. Austin, Texas we have two acupuncture schools. And so we're
Wow.
pumping out students left and right. So actually, Austin has one of the most, in the state of Texas, Austin has the most acupuncturists than any city in Texas.
Wow.
Uh, and it's because we have two acupuncture schools.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people who come to our clinic have already had acupuncture somewhere else. But then we still get I would say 50% people who have never experienced it before.
Yeah. It's a big city, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And do you travel at all? Do you go to other locales and work with people that way?
Yes. So I don't travel to treat people, but what I do is I travel to teach. And so because I'm very fortunate, very blessed that my clinic is one of the largest in Austin, Texas. And so we get great results. And so people have asked me, what do I do? What do you do? And so forth. So I do go and teach. I go to California. I've been to Australia 2 times. And I've taught. So post COVID, obviously Zoom,
Yeah.
I'm teaching a lot of virtual. So yeah, so I do go around and teach people on whether it's the technique I use from acupuncture, the way I take the pulse, prescribe herbs, even to build their business and so forth.
Yeah, right. And I see a lot of what you're offering as well as to help other healthcare and wellness practitioners to
Yeah.
develop their approach. Um,
Hmm.
Now, you've been very successful with the social media. Is that something
Yes.
that you would also kind of say, let's make this happen?
Oh yeah. It's I mean, COVID changed everything,
Hmm.
especially with how people consume information, right? I believe in maybe 2021 or 2022, there was a research that said, you know, Google used to be the number one search engine, right, in the world.
Yeah.
And I think 2021, TikTok overtook them as the number one search engine,
Wow.
right? So that just tells you people are on social media. I mean, I like to say there's a lot of closet users. They're in denial. They won't tell you publicly they're on TikTok. But I have on TikTok, I've got 1.1 million followers, and we have the analytics.
Hmm.
And majority of my followers, they're 45 and older. Okay, so old people are on TikTok.
Right.
Okay, they may not let you know. So I would say everybody needs to get on social media, because yes, social media can be evil. It's just like, I would say it's just like money. Money is neutral, right? In the hands of someone that's evil, it's just going to be more evil. Someone in the hands of someone good, it's going to be greatness. Social media is the same thing. So we need to, as healers, we need to also be out there promoting, because when COVID happened, there was a lot of censorship for natural medicine. I don't know
Hmm.
if you noticed
Oh,
that,
yeah.
right? So if you said anything against what the pharmaceutical companies were saying, they would shut you down, right? Actually, many of my posts got cut.
Yeah.
My Facebook got froze. I got froze for like 2 weeks. I
Mm.
couldn't use it.
Hmm.
And so anything that was natural was cut. So I think as holistic and natural healers, it is our responsibility to put out that information that there is another way. And I'm not saying another way to replace medication, because there is a place for medication for acute care,
Mm-hmm.
but we also need to show that, hey, there is, for chronic disorders, holistic medicine is actually a better choice, but you can do it in combination with Western medicine.
Right. Yeah, there is a big push, or has been for quite a long time, about trying to limit supplements and just
Mm.
basic herbs and herbalism from the shelves, and from and access for
Yeah.
self-care. That's kind of been an ongoing fight for years.
Hmm.
In our business, homeopathy is one of the main things that we
Okay.
use, and that has been a battleground. And it's energetic medicine. So in a sense, it's like, what are you fighting about? It's more like regulation, I think, than anything else. But they
Yeah.
want to limit the ability for somebody to come up with a something they can come up with them by themselves, or grow,
Mhm.
or utilize in that kind of way. They want everybody to siphon towards the drug companies. And yeah, there was a lot of pushback, COVID, but even before that, there was also, you had to watch
Yeah.
how you spoke about certain things. Um,
Yeah.
I used the term earlier, that the dirty word diagnostic, which is, be careful. But uh, there is a big rise in people wanting that liberty. And
Yes.
I think that there was talk that it needed to be put in the Constitution, health freedom,
Oh, oh, that would be nice.
because it's one of those things, like freedom to choose your means of healthcare.
Yeah.
But it seems something that would be a natural understanding, like something that you're
Hmm.
you're naturally allowed to choose what kind of food you eat, because that's medicine. Um, do you do nutrition? So do you have
Yes.
a workup and a program for people when they even maybe before they come in, to say, um, maybe get started with this, or do you get them in first, do all of the different checkers, and see where they're at as far as blood levels and all that?
Yeah, so for my clinic, we get them in first, examine them, and then determine which organs are dysfunctioning, and then prescribe the necessary treatments for that. I do have another company that we do provide online health programs that people can start to lay a foundation. But in the clinic, yeah, we focused on more of the customized
Hmm.
approach for the clinic.
And that's probably best, because then you know everything about the client,
Yeah,
more of their history and everything like that. Um,
exactly.
yeah, a lot of it happens online, telehealth. That's a big
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
But there are certain things. The examination is one of those things where you really want to have them right there. Now, have you looked into Ayurvedic medicine or Ayurvedic practices at all?
No, I haven't. And I've heard that it's very similar to traditional Chinese medicine because it's been around for 3,000 years also.
Right.
Uh, and so I haven't even, studied all of traditional Chinese medicine. So
Right.
I think I'm just going to focus on mastering one thing.
Yeah.
And then if I need to refer out to
Yeah.
someone who specializes.
Yeah, they have a very similar full workup, food, body type, all whole. It's a very involved program for sure.
I imagine.
And your website, for everybody listening and watching, where can they find you?
Yeah, I would say the best place to find me is on social media, and it's at Achieve Integrative Health. It's at Achieve Integrative Health. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, actually anywhere, Facebook. Those are my big three bigs.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I'm following you on all those. I highly recommend it.
Appreciate it.
You're a great follow, and you're really bringing great things to the world. And really happy to have you on as well.
Well, thank you for having me. I mean, anytime I can chat with another holistic practitioner, and we can spread the message. And I think that's what we need to do is we have to get together and spread the message again, not to replace Western medicine, but just to let other people know there are other options, and it's up to us because no one else is going to do it.
Right. Yeah. It basically is one of those things. If you're in business, don't hide from the phone, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
hide from social media.
Right. And that too. Yeah. Very good. Well, Jimmy Yen, thank you so much for being on today. Really great to have you on. And I look forward to another interview in the future.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's been really awesome.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.